Folks, today we are in Wuchang again, and we are on the 5070. This is the ROS Master, and down in the bottom left corner you will see the current driver that I'm using. So as this video ages, you'll know exactly what the driver was whenever this video was created. Alright, so right now we are just on the low settings, and this game has a weird quirk right now. Anything above 67, so basically quality DLSS, is as high as it will go. So you can't really run it at DLSS with native. It's just a strange thing that someone pointed out on a comment, and I checked it out and it was true. So we're just going to start here, and we're going to start with DLSS set to 67, which is a quality preset. And I'll just kind of show you what I'm talking about here. So whenever you come into here, 67, if I were to take this all the way up to 100, you'll notice that my FPS has not really changed much at all. It's still about 127. And then if I come down here and go to that setting again, go back to 67, there you go, still about 120. It goes up and then comes right back down. So I don't know what the deal is, but this is some sort of issue with this game. So all the testing at this point will just be with, unfortunately, that issue present. But it will run pretty fine. You know, that there's no issue with that. But most of the time, people are going to use DLSS quality anyway. So once that gets remedied, I'll probably just address it with another video. But right now we're on low preset, and right now it's of course at 67% with no frame gen and no upscaling. We are strictly doing a 1440p test. This seems to be the resolution most people are interested in overwhelmingly. So if you have a request for a game, a resolution, and a card, just drop it in the comment and I'll do my best to accommodate. Alright, so right now we're at 141 FPS. The game actually looks pretty good at low. You know, it still has quite a bit of detail. There's not like super flat textures, but we can do better. So let's just jump up to the very next setting here and see what we can get going. So right here, overall quality is kind of where I'm going to stay the most. I'm just going to go to mid. This is a medium quality setting, and that drops us down to about 137. Now granted, keep in mind that this is all with no frame gen and with that quality DLSS turned on. Unfortunately, we just cannot test at native. It just isn't going to work. Alright, so we're at 110, 109 FPS here. I've kind of cleared this whole area out so we could get like a nice, clean, uninterrupted test. So yeah, as you look out here, it definitely drops a little bit. I'm not sure if it's just the water or what, but there's a few little snags here and there. Nothing too crazy. The game actually runs pretty darn well. For the most part that I've seen. Alright, so let's just come over here and turn on the next level of quality preset. Let's come down here. I'm on a controller right now, so bear with me while I do this. It's a little bit slower. Alright, so that's 88 FPS, 87. And again, no upscaling, no frame gen, nothing like that. Well, I take that back. We are upscaling. We're at 67 because we can't do native for whatever reason. Alright, so yeah, 83 FPS, 84 FPS. Looking pretty good though. Game's going to run pretty well. I'm going to drop in some more of this overall quality. Now when you go up to Ultra and Extreme, it does introduce some ray tracing. There's no ray tracing toggle in this title, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, we're still at 78 FPS. With a little bit of ray tracing introduced, as well as some higher, overall presets, 81, 80, 79. Our VRAM allocation looks pretty good. Oh, my light does work. It just turned on. That's great. I had a light that was pretty dim, and it just suddenly lit up, so hopefully it's not broken. All right, so 83 FPS. Yeah, so we're looking pretty good here. VRAM is well under control. This is a 5070 with the 12 gigabytes, so we're okay on VRAM so far. Let's just jump over here and see what we can do as far as the extreme preset, which this definitely brings in a lot more ray tracing, and it kind of just maxes everything all the way out. So this is like a full tilt setting, 79 FPS. I just want to make sure that that definitely did apply because it didn't seem to move very much. And I want to make sure that it's not messing with anything over here. All right, so yeah, this is an extreme preset, so we're okay. So maybe the extreme and the ultra aren't too terribly different. The extreme probably just takes everything up just that extra little notch. The main thing is, you know, as you go up further and further and further on detail, you start to get diminishing returns, and that's kind of with anything in life. The more power you put into it, the less you get for that power. I'm going to actually turn this light off because it is really flickering. Okay, there we go. All right, so 84, 87, 79. So right now we can just do some, we can deduce that we're going to be able to run this pretty well, but let's check out what the next level would be. So that would be 58. This would be a balanced preset, and we're going to drop this down. Oops, not that. Let's go back up to overall quality. Bring that back down to low. I'm sure it messed with this. Yes, it did. All right, so this would be balanced. We're going to go through all the balanced presets. All the presets with balanced enabled. So this is 174 FPS. It still looks really good. The textures are a little bit flatter, nothing crazy, but still performing extremely well here. We've got 8 gigs of allocated VRAM, and we're using only 6.5. All right, so let's just keep going through it and get you a good test here today. All right, so let's come in here, overall quality. We're going to go to that mid quality, which is basically a medium. That's going to drop us to 110, 115, 104. Kind of bounces around a little bit in this area. I think it's got a lot to do with this water. It's a little bit harder to run potentially, and it does seem to be actually part of the environment. It's not like a background or anything like that. I've actually ran around down there. I modified it to where my health bar didn't go away, and you can actually like run around all in here. So it is interactive. It is, you know, part of the geometry of the level. All right, so there's 99, 102. All right, let's keep going. Come down here and go to this high preset. Okay, this is high, 97, 95. You're going to get a good experience on this title. I just really want to run through all the different potential presets. I like to give you as much knowledge as you can absorb by going through these videos because everyone's playstyle is a little bit different. You know, some people want the higher fidelity image. Some people don't care really much about that and just want like a super smooth, high refresh experience. Some people want a balance of both. So this is why I try to show every single thing that I can on these technical kind of performance reviews for these games. All right, so that's 99 FPS. Let's just keep on going over here. Graphics, ultra. So this would be an ultra preset with the balanced DLSS enabled. Now you're going to get a little bit better frames up here on the scaffolding for some reason. I think it's just because half of your view is blocked from this giant mountain that you're going up. So just keep that in mind. But as you look out, as you know, it'll drop those frames down. So we'll be able to get a good test up here. There's an area all the way at the top that tends to be a little bit harder to run. Go up here all the way, and then we'll flip over to extreme and then go from there. There we go. All right, so yeah, as you look out, you get a little bit of a performance hit. And as you look over here, of course, you go way up because you're just looking at a flat side of a mountain. So this is a good swing of performance here. All right, let's go over to the extreme preset. Now that we're on ultra, let's go up to extreme. And as you can see, we are at 123, 125. As we look out, we drop down into the upper 70s. All right, there you go. I just burned myself a little bit. That's okay. All right, so we're at 99 FPS. So it kind of swings about 30 FPS on the scaffolding just because of the environment. I believe that's all there is to it. Let's just come over here, come down, keep on going. I know this is super exciting. All right, so this is 81, 83 FPS, 80, 90. Looking pretty good, though. This card's going to be a nice little card to run this game at 1440 for sure. No questions. Its allocation on its VRAM is doing really well. We're at only 9, so we have 3 to spare. So we'll probably do some frame generation later on and call it a day because you're going to need that VRAM to do the frame generation. So I'm going to bring this back down to low, and then come back to the advanced and bring that back down to 50. So this would be a performance DLSS setting, and it is going to be running really well. This is low with performance DLSS, 155 FPS, 151. Yeah, looking really good, really nice. As far as clarity goes, I cannot tell the difference between DLSS quality and performance. I am on a smaller 1440p monitor. This is like a 22 or 23 inch monitor, so the pixel density is pretty high, but you know, take that for whatever it's worth. It does look really, really, really well maintained as far as like clarity goes, dropping from one setting to the next. All right, so there's 160s in here. Let's just come on over here, go back to that mid setting. All right. And that's 115 FPS in this area. Let's just keep going over here. I don't really want to touch anything and start a story element, so let's just keep going out of here. Let's get out of this area. All right. But as far as this game goes, it's pretty fun. I haven't really played too much past this point, but as far as I can tell, it's going to be a nice experience on this card at 1440. So yeah, we're just going to keep on going through here. Let's jump over to the next preset, which would be the high preset. All right, so this would be high. That's going to get us still right over 100. So this is performance DLSS right at 100 with no frame gen yet at all. So we're looking really, really good here. All right, so 115, 112. Looks nice. Let's go down here. We haven't been down here yet. All right. Yeah, as you can see, you look out of that water and it drops it just a hair and then it comes back up right when you spin away from it. So it's got to be that water, I think. All right, so let's just keep going to the next preset. Go up to Ultra. Still in the 90s. 115, 110. These settings seem to be more incremental than anything else, especially once you go from low to mid. All right. Everything looks pretty smooth though. That frame time graph is nice. We're allocating 8.3, using about 6, well, actually about 7, yeah, using about 7. All right, I'm just going to kind of stay down this area because we've been up there so much. We know that there's some pretty crazy swings up there. So let's just go up to the extreme. So this would be extreme with the performance DLSS preset. Okay, 100. We touched 100, but this is down in the 80s now. Yeah, there's a lot of swing in this game. About 30 FPS actually, depending on like where you are and where you're looking at, which is a lot for, you know, a game that's higher than normal, but it still runs fine. All right, so here we go. Let's just jump over into the next section, which will be trying out some frame generation. So we're going to come down here. We're going to bring this, we're going to leave it on extreme. We're going to bring this up to 67. So we'll be at a quality DLSS setting here. And we're going to turn on some frame generation. So this would be extreme with frame gen turned on 2x at 67. So a quality DLSS. All right, so you know, note that we did use a little bit more VRAM when we did that. Not a lot. We still have plenty left over. But this is 112 FPS here on extreme with a 2x frame generation and a quality DLSS upscale. All right, so let's just come on over here and go to the next section, which would be a 3x. We're just going to kind of do this incrementally, get everybody the numbers that they want to see. That brings us up to about mid 150s, 154, 157. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a pretty nicely running game, pretty smooth. Our VRAM is right at 9.3, just under 8 on used. All right, so let's just keep going over here. And we're going to turn on the 4x. All right, so that gives us a really nice number, 235 FPS. This is, again, extreme with a quality upscale because we cannot do native for whatever reason. It's just doesn't do it. I don't know why. There's just no no real answer on that yet. All right. Just keep going through here. And let's double check everything. Let's come down here. So we are on, let's see, let's just go over to TSR. I'm curious if TSR will behave like the native did for DLAA. All right, so let's see where 100 TSR, extreme, okay. Yeah, it looks like maybe it does. Okay, there's 60, 70, so this is TSR. This is a TSR extreme upscale, and the upscale is set to 100, so I'm curious to see if there's still a problem going from 100 to 67 on TSR. Okay, looks like 70s, 80s. I can't really tell if that did very much. I'm not sure if this is just a all-around problem, but the game does seem to be a little bit blurrier than even DLSS did look on quality, though. So I'm just going to forego any TSR recommendations right now. It's going to kick that over. Yeah, so this is just TSR and DLSS. All right, so let's just go back to what we were doing earlier. Go over here. We have got everything still set up nicely. Just double check and make sure nothing changed. 67, 4x. Okay, so let's come down to 58. This would be a balanced upscale with 2x frame generation. Yeah, that's automatically, even on balance, looks clearer than TSR did. For what it's worth, I would just stick with DLSS, even though it's broken. No one really plays it native anyway. People always use DLSS to begin with, so not a huge deal, but worth noting that if there is a fix, I will test it. All right, so this is a 2x frame gen on balance DLSS at the extreme setting. Okay, come over here, go to that 3x. We just want to get a nice well-rounded test here today. That brings us up to about 183 FPS, 180 FPS. And our VRAM allocation is 9.5, utilizing 8. Everything looks really good, though. I mean, this game does run well. I don't want to misconstrue it as like buggy or anything because of that DLSS problem, but hopefully they do fix that because I would like to see what it does at pure native. All right, so there we go. Let's just see what the next one would be. So that would be a 4x. This is balanced 4x, 260, 268, 271. The main thing with the 5070 is just going to be the VRAM being 12 gigs. And really at 1440, you should never really have that much of a problem unless the game is just really poorly running. But yeah, this game is managing VRAM just fine. You have a 9.4 on allocation and utilizing just under 8. All right, so let's go to that next setting, which would be, let's see, we've done 4x. Let's come down here. We need to do performance on 2x. This would be a performance upscale at 2x at the extreme setting profile. Okay, so 175 FPS, 184, 165, 145. Yeah, there's a bunch of swings right here with this water. Man, it's just like, kind of gives you a scope though of like, how bad it can get and how good it can get. So that's kind of good, to see that the game can really keep the frames up pretty high, even though there's some demanding environmental stuff over here. All right, I'm just going to keep on going and go up to that 3x. So this is DLSS 3x, DLSS performance on 3x with the extreme profile. So 188 FPS here, 175. Yeah, you're not going to have any kind of issues running this title with this card at all at 1440. Matter of fact, I might even call it overkill, to be honest, but that's a good thing. You want some headroom, especially as newer, more challenging games come out. and less optimized games come out. You definitely want a card that can keep up with, you know, 4 or 5 years worth of games. All right, so let's just keep on going to the next one, which would be the 4X setting. And that gives you a 265 experience, well over 200 FPS. No matter what's going on, it's well over 200 FPS. And that is nothing to be ashamed about there at all. Running very, very well. All right, so I guess that will probably wrap it all up. There's no real other settings here to test because ray tracing is sort of just built into these presets, and there's no real struggle to run it. So normally if there's a really, you know, hard section to run, or the game is really struggling, I'll go into like some more fine-tuning stuff. But right now everything looks like it is going to run just fine no matter what your play style is. So again, if you like this kind of stuff, please drop me a like. Subscription would mean the world. And yeah, we'll see you in the very next one. Peace.